Hi fashion lovers, you're welcome to another interesting video. In today's tutorial, we are going to be learning how to sew this bustier gown. In my previous video, we learned how to draft it. It was a well-detailed tutorial on the drafting, and this is going to be a well-detailed tutorial on how to sew this bustier gown with a perfect inseam finishing. So if it is something you want to learn, you need to keep watching this video. Don't forget to give me a big thumbs up, like, share and subscribe. Let's get started. To get started, I have my pattern that was drafted in the previous video, the pattern of the bustier. So you need to watch the pattern drafting before the sewing video. So this is the center back and this is the side seam for the back. You want to go ahead and cut them into two pieces. Then you want to go ahead and add your sewing allowance of 1/2 inch, and towards this side you add your side seam sewing allowance and also the hemming allowance. So this is the side front. You are going to cut it in two pieces. The center front will be cut on fold. Did you see? Then you want to go ahead and add your necessary sewing allowance. On the side seam, you add your side seam sewing allowance, and then on the other sides you can add 1/2 inch for joining allowance. So this is the fabric I'm going to be making use of, an African print fabric. I have about 2 yards. So I've gone ahead to cut this out on my fabric. As you can see, I extended the length because the length of the pattern was on my knee, but I wanted this to go beyond my knee, so I added extra 7 inches to the hem part. Did you see? And I added hemming allowance of 1.5 inches. So my hemming allowance is 1.5 inches. You can see I've added my side seam sewing allowance and the joining allowance of 1/2 inch. Did you see? This is the center back, the zipper side. You can see we already have the allowance on the zipper side, so I didn't have to add any allowance on that zipper part. So this is what we have. So after I open it up, this is the center front. Now we want to work on the center front. So when you open it up, this is what you're going to have for the center front. So you want to go ahead and cut your padding. So your padding is going to start from the upper part and stop on the under bust. So that is what I'm trying to show you. And towards the center front, the padding is going to be on fold. Did you see? It's going to be on fold, and it's going to start from the upper part and end on the under bust for this center front. Now then, for the side front, on the bust point line, go inward by half of your nipple to nipple measurement. Mine is 3.5. On the under bust, go in by 1 inch and then try to connect. And then from this part you can mark 1 inch, and then you want to go ahead and connect like this. Did you see? So did you see? So this is going to be my padding. This is how the padding for the side is going to be. So I'm going to be using the pattern paper to cut it out, and I'm not going to be adding any sewing allowance to it. So after I was done, this is what I have. Let me show you what I have. So I'm done cutting this. So I'm trying to now add it to the wrong side of my fabric. Did you see? So I cut this out, the pattern. I cut out the wording on pattern, and I do not add the sewing allowance. So as I'm going to be placing it on the fabric, it is not going to be getting to the sewing part. So the wording that I use is the lightest wording, the very lightest wording. So that is why I cut out two pieces for each. Did you see? You can see me adding two pieces for it. So you want to go ahead and arrange it. Your padding is not going to get to the seam line. And for the center front, when you open it up, this is what you're going to have. So you want to place it in such a way that it will be on the under bust, as you can see. and place the second part, and the sewing allowance, you will see the sewing allowance of 1/2 inch, so the padding did not get to the sewing allowance. So go ahead and sew it now. So I'll go ahead and join the side. Did you see? I'll go ahead and join one side to the center front and the other side to the center front. So when I'm done, this is what I have. Did you see? I've sewn the front part. Did you see? So at this point, you can go ahead and iron. Did you see? So when you turn it, this is what you are going to have. Did you see the curve, the cup? Even though I did not, add a big wadding to it, it still came out nice. So let's work on the back part now. Whatever you do for the main fabric, you are going to do for the lining. So for my lining, I cut out the exact same thing for my lining. The same thing I cut out for the fabric is the same thing I cut on the lining. And whatever I do for the main fabric, I will also do for the lining. So the next thing you want to do, this is the center back, the zipper side. So you want to go ahead and sew this center back. So let me just fold it. So this is the center back, the zipper side now. So you want to go ahead and sew, but before then you want to get the allowance for your zipper and the hemming, the slit. So from the hem part, I went upwards by 10 inches, and that is going to be my slit. And then from this part now, I'm going to place my tape on my 8.5 inches, which is my chest line, and then I'll mark 23 inches. So this is where my zip is going to be. So I'll go ahead and sew this part. Did you see the part I'm sewing? We leave the zipper side open and the slit side open. So as you can see, I'm done sewing that part. Did you see I have sewn it? Did you see? You can see the curve around that part because we did the underbutt curve contour. So this is where the zipper is going to be. Did you see? And this is the slit side. So you want to go ahead and turn this, and then you want to go ahead and sew the side to the center back. The side back, you want to go ahead and sew it by the 1/2 inch you have added. So after I was done, this is what I have. I've gone ahead to attach my zipper on the zipper space that I added. This is what I have for the back part. You can see how the back part looks like. So the next thing you want to do is to grab the front part and then place it right side of the front facing the right side of the back, and then you want to go ahead and sew one side. You are sewing one side of the one seam line, and you are leaving the other part open. Please take note of that. You will sew one side of the seam. You will sew one side of the seam and leave the other part open. So as you can see, I have sewn one side of the seam, the side seam. Now I have sewn one side and I left the other side open. Did you see? And the reason why I did that is because I'm going to be attaching my lining, so that it will be easier for me to attach my lining. So I've sewn one side of this dress. I've joined one side seam and one other side seam is open. So the same thing I did for the dress, I will also do for the lining. So the next thing I want to do is to get my strap. So to get my strap, I will just grab the pattern paper like this, and I will measure from this point to this point, and then continue my measurement from this point to the end of this. This is just to serve as a guide for me on the length of the strap I'm going to use. So after measuring, I have around 13.75. So I have a fabric here that I've cut out, and the width of it, or the height of this fabric, is 1.5 inches. So you want to go ahead and cut out the length that you have measured. So I measured 13.75. I'm going to add 1 inch to it. It's going to give me 14.75, and the height of this is 1.5. So I cut out 2 pieces for it. This is going to be my strap. So you want to fold it in and sew. Did you see? You want to go ahead and fold them in like this, fold them together and sew it. So I've gone ahead to sew the strap. Did you see? I've gone ahead to sew the strap. So you want to go ahead and attach your strap like this. Did you see what I'm doing? You sew on one side. So go ahead and attach your strap on one end. Did you see? On that line for the front. Then you want to also take it to the back. Did you see what I'm doing? And attach on that line. You attach on the dot line. Did you see? Let me show it again. You want to attach on the front part now on the dot line where you join your your bustier. You also want to do it for the other side. You attach one end of the strap to the front and attach the second end to the back like this, and then you want to take it to the sewing machine and stitch. Did you see? Stitch it like this and stitch it. So when I was done stitching, this is what I have. Did you see that? So I've gone ahead to stitch. Did you see? If you open it up, this is what you are gonna have. So you want to go ahead and stitch. So I'm gonna turn this now to the right side. So you want to attach the lining to the fabric. So it might be a bit tricky because of the because of the strap, but just take your time. It's gonna align. So this is my lining. I've gone ahead to sew my lining just the same way I sewed the main fabric. You can see I opened up the one side. You can see one side of the lining is open just the way the main fabric is also open. So you want to now attach the lining to the fabric by placing the right side of the lining to the right side of the fabric, and then you want to go ahead and hold it on the neckline. Did you see? You want to hold it and then begin to mash it up. Let the seam line of the lining match with the seam line of the main fabric, and then you pin. Then you also go to the neckline as well. Make sure the neckline matches together, then you pin. So you want to go ahead and do the same. Begin to mash it up, or the seam line matches together. Then you push your strap in. You push your strap in inside the fabric now. Then you begin to hold the side seam. So just hold it. It's actually very easy. So at this point I needed to like open the zipper part. Did you see? And then you hold it. So you want to go ahead and do it for all the sides now. Also go ahead and also hold this part. So when you are done, you want to go ahead and stitch now. By the ½ inch that you have added, you want to go ahead and stitch. So when I was done, this is what I have. As you can see, I'm done stitching the upper part. You can decide to top stitch, but for me, I do not top stitch. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to cut out every point that is a bit big, and then I will notch. So I try to notch all around. That was what I did. I notched all around. So when you are done and you open it up, this is what you are going to have. Did you see? When you open it up, this is what you are going to have when you open it up. So we have done with the neckline. Did you see? We have done with the neckline. So that the next thing is to work on the down part now, the hem part. So you want to mark 1 inch on the down part of the lining like so, and then you want to trim off that 1 inch out. So the hemming allowance I added on the down part was 1.5. So on the lining, I'm cutting out 1 inch, having ½ inch left on the lining. So that ½ inch is what I'm going to be using to sew the down part. So what you want to do is to push your lining to the down part, because you have cut out 1 inch from the lining, so it's not going to align. So you want to go ahead and push it like this. Did you see? Hold it very well, and then you want to go ahead and sew the two by they'll join them together by ½ inch. So when I was done, this is what I have. Did you see? I have sewn the down part. I have sewn the down part. Did you see now? I've sewn the down part. So the next thing is to work on the slit. You want to match the slit of the lining and the main fabric together. Did you see what I'm doing? So where the end of the slit, where the slit ends, you want to hold it. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. Hold it and then grab one side of the slit like this. Then you want to go ahead and pin it. This is just because we want to achieve a neat finishing. So you want to do everything to come out nicely and in a professional way. So you want to also hold the slit and the lining like this on one side. you want to pin it down. Because we cut out the lining part, the lining is going to be shorter, so the fabric will kind of, you know, fold in. So you want to go ahead and sew, continue the stitching of your, you know, seam allowance, of your zipper allowance there. You sew by 1 inch. Did you see? You stitch it to by 1 inch. So you want to go ahead and bring it to the right side now. Let's see the outcome of it. So when I open it up, this is what I'm going to have. Did you see? The slit part has been, you know, closed very well. We have succeeded in closing up the slit part just the way we wanted it to be. Did you see? Everything now is okay. So the next thing to work on is to now work on the side seam, to close up that side seam that was left open. So since we have done, since you are done working on the slit, we want to like close up the side seam. So did you see? Everything came out nicely. Did you see? Everything was so nice. You can see the slit everywhere was well finished. Before we go over to the slit, we also want to like kind of, you know, close up the zipper side. You want to hold the lining and the zipper like this, just to achieve a neat finishing on that zipper part. So you want to like hold the lining and the zipper like this. Did you see? And then go ahead and sew, not to the zipper teeth now. So do you see what I'm doing? Let me turn it to the right side, the wrong side, so it will be easier for me. So you want to like hold the lining and the fabric like this. You just see, hold it, and then go ahead and stitch. So when I was done, this is the effect of it. This is my zipper side. You can see the lining has been closed up properly. Did you see the effect of it? Then the last one we need to do is the seam line now. So open the seam. See, let the lining on the end parts, let your lining meet the lining and the fabric meets the fabric. So you want to hold it in such a way that your lining will meet the lining parts, and the fabric will meet the fabric parts. So you want to go ahead and sew from that hem part till you get to the upper part. So that is how you are going to go ahead and close up that part. So you sew the fabric separately and the lining separately from the hem part to the upper parts now, and then you sew round. So when I was done, this is what I have. You can see I've stitched everywhere, and from the look of things, there is no place to turn this to the right side. Everywhere has been well, you know, sealed. So what I will do is that on the side seam of the lining, I will try to like make a small opening there so I can turn this to the right side. Then I will now use my hand needle to close it back. So that is how you achieve a inseam finishing. So you want to turn it to the right side now. So when we turn it to the right side, did you see what we have? We have achieved a neat finishing. Did you see that? A neat finishing, well sewn. Did you see that? Did you see everywhere? Everywhere has been well closed, apart from that side that, you know, has the opening on the lining side, that we are going to use our hand stitch, you know, to finish up that part. So I'll go ahead and iron this out and show you the final result. So when I was done, this is what I have. Did you see? So I've gone ahead to like iron this. Everything came out so nicely. Everything came out so beautiful. Did you see that? So this is how the inside looks. Everything is well finished, everything is well sewn, just the professional way of, you know, sewing your dress. Did you see? Everything came out so nicely. Please, if you have found this video very interesting, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. Why don't you help me by liking this video and sharing this video? Thank you all for sticking with me to this very point. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. See you in my next tutorial. Bye.